This is Start With Large Lads, and we have another video for you today. This is a tier list, and I have Rufy here with me.
Hello, everybody.
And this tier list is going to be basically we're going through every century from the 10th century BC all the way to the 21st century, and we're kind of ranking them. It's going to be a long one. We're going to rank them based on how cool we think their history is and how impactful that century is, and so it's a mix of personal opinion based on, hey, that thing that happened then was cool, and also there was a lot that happened during that century. I guess the only side notes are if you are a follower of the channel or not, and you want to check out our game Winter Reach Emporium, they will be in the description. Also, I have Disney Hercules playing on the TV over here, so if you hear anything loud, unfortunately, that's going to have to rock for this episode. Maybe there'll be a cut, and I will totally get it out of here. But if you hear some screaming, there's not somebody locked in my basement. It's from the movie. And if you hear a scream coming from Rufy's mic, there is somebody locked in his basement. So with that being said, we will go forward. And we'll start with the 10th century BC. And I guess another caveat to get out is I feel like everything from the 1st century on, I'm pretty well versed in. Things that happened pre-turn of the millennium, I can kind of... Things get kind of confusing, no? Do you agree or no?
I mean, it's not as well documented because, of course, the Turks burned the library. So,
the Turks did do that, didn't they?
They did do.
Yeah.
They did burn down the library.
Drop your Turkish flags in the comments to let us know. And I heard the Albanians helped them. So I guess the
post from Berlin. Anyhow, back to the video.
All right, so in the 10th century, we also have a little cheat sheets here. That's research that we did behind the scenes. And we have the traditional reigns of David and Solomon and the construction of the first temple in Jerusalem, the consolidation of the Zhou dynasty in China, the emergence and consolidation of early Iron Age kingdoms, the rise of the Neo-Assyrian state in Mesopotamia, expansion of early Phoenician city-states, and early formation and consolidation of small Greek kingdoms, communities. What do you think?
Pretty good. So let's get to it.
Yeah, and then you put here, do you want me to read your notes or not read your notes?
I can read my notes.
Okay.
I went over the large-scale ironworking expansion, especially near the Near East. So they replaced the bronze tools, as you mentioned, which was the emergence and consolidation of the Iron Age kingdoms.
Mm-hmm.
Then I mentioned the Nok cultures in West Africa.
Yep.
Because they produced their sculptures, and also the Olmec civilization in Mesoamerica. So they had the colossal heads, which you can see all over the place. So that's pretty much it for the 10th century from me as well.
Yeah, also looking at your notes, and this is something that I did know, and I guess this is probably which I guess the timeline makes sense, but I didn't realize the Olmecs were that far in the past. Because I think of the Aztecs being around the 14 and 1500s, and the Maya being 400 to 500 years before them. I thought the Olmec were going to be 400 to 500 years before them. I didn't realize the Olmecs were so old.
Yeah, they were way, way older. They stick around for longer as well. I feel like that's one of the big misconceptions.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I would say that 10th century BC actually seems like there's some interesting stuff going on. Is that fair to say?
It's like, what are we going to talk about first?
Yeah, I mean, when you what I think is cool, I think the Phoenician city-states, when I think of because I guess that's giving birth to, this is probably later on than the actual birth of the Greek culture, but kind of before the big city-states that you know about, Athens and Sparta and Thebes and all of these different cities pop up. And this kind of goes to show again, I don't actually know when the Bronze Age collapses. I think the Bronze Age collapses prior to the 10th century BC, but I think that's pretty cool. And then the Neo-Assyrian...
The thing is about, of course, iron and ironworking. It was, of course, known prior to the 10th century BC, but a lot of historians, at least to my knowledge, like to mark the 10 BC to be like the exact age where ironworking became the main thing to go to, and it was not as knowledge locked for a specific region. So it was quite worldwide, at least towards the known civilizations. If we don't count in, of course, the America, which were completely isolated from rest of the, let's say, mainland-ish Europe, Middle East, and a little bit of China.
Yeah,
or Asia.
And I think the only downside of this age is it's just a poor time to just sell bad copper in Mesopotamia.
Oh, I think that was way before. I think
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's kind of gone out of style. So
yeah.
That has
Somebody
to
will send you a bad letter.
Yeah,
this your copper is good bad quality.
This I'm actually leaning towards I feel like we're going to be pretty harsh with the BCs, but to be fair, now that I'm thinking forward, I know obviously Alexander the Great, and then the Roman Empire. I think coming up really, really quick. We even have
Century.
Yeah. So I think it's actually pretty low. I would say it's actually borderline boring.
It is quite boring. So it goes, I would say, or boring.
Well, there's a boring one. So
Ooh, I don't think it's super boring because imagine like being.
You think it's
tools. I think it's because of the bronze and iron tools. Iron tools becoming more common. That's one of my main thing, and a lot of things. For example, the Mesopotamia, all of the small states they started forming. So I think it was like the setup for the 9th century. So I feel like it cannot be boring. You know what I mean? Because everything was in works for the 9th century. Boom. BCE, of course.
Yeah, I would say maybe as far as impact, it's more of a setup period, but
still, setup periods are not boring.
All right, I give it to you. I give it to you. It can be
Let's move on.
All right, 9th century, we have the Neo-Assyrian Empire begins serious imperial expansion under kings like Ashurnurpal II. Cool guy he was. I'm thinking of Nebuchadnezzar, and I don't know where is Nebuchadnezzar Assyrian or is he Babylonian?
I think he's Babylonian.
Okay, I think he's Babylonian. Okay, traditional founding of Carthage by the Phoenician settlers. Okay, so then yeah, exactly. Strengthening of Zhao China again, growth in Aramaic as a lingua franca across the Near East, and proto-city-state development in Greece, setting up the Archaic period. Then you have your notes.
And apart from, of course, Middle East and early East Asia, I went to the Kingdom of Kush in Nubia. So
very progressive.
Yep. New culture, of course, for withdrawal from Egyptian region. So they went a little bit south. Then in Greece, the alphabet, it became solidified. So they have the early inscriptions, those which survived the Great Burning. Then there's
by the Turks and Albanians.
Yeah, by the Turks and Albanians. God damn them.
Yeah.
And we have our first references to high status export. So markets were booming as well with the Phoenician purple. So silk and so on.
Now I'm actually, part of me actually is actually leaning towards the 10th and 9th century are both kind of boring. This seems to be more of this. Oh, what were you going to say?
I would say it's quite interesting.
Quite interesting.
Yes, especially because of the Greece part.
I feel like I'm being given the introductory to what will be interesting. I don't feel like that this on its own is interesting.
So previously we had like a light setup, and this is full-blown progression setup. So I would actually move it to interesting, because the next one, the 8th century, is gonna be quite high, I believe. Very high. And
yeah.
If you're gonna say 8th century BCE is not high, I don't know what to tell you, man.
I mean, are you thinking foreplay is interesting, or you think foreplay is
I love foreplay. So
okay, well, fair enough. All right. Fair enough. 9th century is interesting as foreplay.
All right, let's move on.
And then in the 8th century, we have rise of the Greek polis system, so the city-state system, places like Athens, Sparta, Corinth, compositions, tradition of Homeric epics, so the Iliad and the Odyssey. Both of them actually back here on the bookshelf, funny enough. The traditional founding of Rome
Yep.
happens here as well. The Neo-Assyrian Empire reaches major power, dominating the Near East. And then the Zhao dynasty weakens. Western Zhao falls in 771 BC. And the beginning of the Eastern Zhao, or Spring and Autumn period, happened.
Oh no, the China fall apart again.
Too bad we're not at Ming Dynasty yet.
Yeah, who could predict that again? It will only happen 15 more times. So, alright, jokes aside, for my notes, I have written in that apart from Rome, there is also Etruscan cities in Italy, which will look very urban and fancy. So there will be new architecture and new manufacturing practices. There is also, for me, the fitness freak, the first Olympic Games, of course, sports, bragging rights, tradition.
That happens in the 7th century?
Yep, in the 7th century.
Oh, 8th century. We're in the 8th century now.
Oh, 8th century.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant to say. The first Olympic Games? That sounds crazy.
It is.
Why did I think the Olympics? I'm thinking of the marathon. Okay, disregard.
Yeah, marathon is a different one.
Yeah.
And also, we have the coolest armor sets being made by the Celts.
Ooh.
Celts in Central Europe developed the Hallstatt culture, and if possible, and I will put a little bit of pressure on you in editing. Let's please get some Hallstatt armors on the screen right now, because they are fucking cool. I love how they look.
All right, we will get some Hallstatt armors in the editing.
So you probably see them right now, and there will be even cooler things coming from Celts.
Even cooler things.
But that's pretty much it for me. What to say more than this? I mean...
Well, so I think that the question is... What's up?
I think it's very cool. If not,
I was going to say that for me the question is, well, because I think it gets cooler for the Greeks, and I think the Greeks are the coolest thing of this time, as a Eurocentric history guy.
I mean, where else would you find a twink for your, when you go to the forum?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you know what they say. I think there's a centuries-old saying. I think my grandfather used to say it. Inside of you, there's two Greeks. One is one of them is an Athenian twink, and then the other one is a Spartan hunk, and they're both gay. So
they're both gay.
And there's nothing wrong with that. So I would say that for me this is almost top of interesting, because I think it gets way cooler. Because
I think this is actually either very cool or goated. Because first of all, of course, as I said, I'm a fitness freak, so Olympic Games, big plus. Then you have the Celts developing their strong heritage in Central Europe, and you have the urban Italy and Greece forming with the forums and the first big cities. So this is basically the ultimate setup for something cool to happen.
Right, but I would say
previously we had a slow rolling boulder, and now things are actually happening.
Yeah, but it can't be goated if it's a setup. Because you think about the Greeks. Really. We have the Greeks fight.
You necessarily need to have battles. This is without actual big ass battles, apart from China, because they're murdering each other in millions. But
yeah, but that's we don't even talk about that. That just happens. It happens every season. So
Zhou Dynasty weakened. 15 million perished.
Yeah, I don't know. My thoughts are we have Alexander the Great coming up. We have all of the Punic Wars coming up. We have the Peloponnesian Wars coming up. Those to me are the ones that have an argument, because how many can really be goated? 2 or 3. Most of these things probably are further down the list. So I'm just thinking of all these different things that happen, and that seemed to me like they would be goated, and so it's hard for me to see a setup. Because early Lydian kingdom, cool. Greek archaic period, colonization of Mediterranean Black Sea coast. Okay, we're getting started. Consolidation of the Medes as a regional power in Iran. Don't really know a lot about that. Median Empire, I suppose, is the Persian Empire that everybody knows. Neo-Babylonian Empire. Oh, under Nebuchadnezzar II. We do know Nebuchadnezzar. We just talked about him. That's in 7th century. Ooh, ski. We're not even there yet. I mean, this is the rise of the city-state system. So that's really what we're talking about here. To me, that's like top of interesting.
All right, tell me. Interesting, but it's going to be strong interesting.
To me, actually, I almost think it goes here in top of interesting, and I almost feel like these go like one down. That's actually what I think, because I think 10th...
We already made decisions. Let's stick with them.
Fair enough. I think this 10th century is almost the most boring. The only one I can think of is I literally think there's something called phantom time theory, which is like the 2nd or 3rd century didn't even happen because nothing happened during that century and somebody just like put them there. So, but look it up when you're in time. It's crazy. But anyway, I would say it's top of interesting above the 9th century. And I don't even think it's strong interesting. I think it's like interesting relative to what's on here right now.
Let's move on.
Okay. Next, we have the 7th century BC, which is the Neo-Syrian Empire is at its height, then collapses. The rise of the Neo-Babylonian Empire under Nebuchadnezzar II and Nabopolassar. Consolidation of the Medes as a regional power in Iran. Greek Archaic period, colonization of Mediterranean Black Sea coast, and early Lydian kingdom in Anatolia, beginning of coinage toward the end of the century. To me, this is like... This to me is the interesting stuff. Like this is like what would be top of interesting. That's why I feel like we're almost a little too high on the stuff that's here.
And of course, for my notes, we have the Scythians, which dominate the Eurasia steppes. So we have the first horse archers or recorded horse archery. Then we have the first coin-like medals appear. So there's the first so-called fiat or non-item transit like trade with specific coins or currency, and also the big library in Nivea, which hoarded the tablets of the events prior to these events, which got lost. So
you wrote Proto Nerd King. What is that about?
That's Ashurba.
No, below it says Proto Nerd King. King of the nerds. He's the king of the nerds.
Yeah,
cool guy.
Ben Nepal. He was basically a nerd. Huge nerd. So he made a library.
Yeah, so
stop reading by now.
My
People
bad.
will think badly of me.
My bad. To me, this is like what I see is like things are starting to happen. I don't think the Assyrian Empire. I think the Assyrian, they're like the OG bad guys. From what I understand. I do think that this is like, to me, this is when things start to get cool, because Nebuchadnezzar, there's a lot of interesting history with Nebuchadnezzar. I think there's this old History Channel show about the Bible, and Nebuchadnezzar's in it, and he's portrayed quite evilly in it, so I'm sure he's pretty evil in the Bible. And then the consolidation of the Medes as a regional power in Iran, this is obviously the Median Empire, that we'll see later on, soon enough, cements itself pretty strongly. The Greek Archaic period, obviously, and then the early Lydian kingdom. I'm trying to think, who is the...
You know what's my beef with this time period, though? Because before we were just about, like, building. There were some conflicts, yeah, but this is just conflicts. It's literally just conflicts. The only difference here is, of course, the coins. And then we have the Archaic period, of course, where they colonized the Mediterranean, like the small islands. And the library in Nivea. Apart from that, it's literally just conflict. I mean, it is interesting, of course. It is mostly well documented because somebody has to keep track of battles. But battles aren't the coolest thing, because when you look at the whole thing, I also think about technology and setup for the next generations. I don't want to sound like a Greenpeace here.
Yeah, you are. You are sounding like one.
You are sounding like a Greenpeace guy.
Yeah.
But, for me, it's cooler to build something than burn something down.
It's cooler to burn it's cooler to burn other people's things down, though. That's what you're missing. It's not cool to burn your own thing. Yeah, it's not cool to burn your own thing, but burning your shit down is cool.
So, yeah, I wouldn't say that this is the peak for me. But
jeez.
what do you think?
To me, I couldn't even fathom this not being cooler than the 8th century. To me, every century is getting cooler so far.
There are gonna be some boring ones, I bet.
Yeah, this one is obscene. Do you even remember what happened? Do you even remember what happened in this century?
Just talked about it previously.
Yeah. Get out of the notes.
Well, as I said, it was the iron working, of course, and then the Jews.
Indeed. Well, that's every century, to be fair.
Yeah, we had those anyhow.
I think the 7th century. I actually think everything needs to move down one, and then I think 8th century could stay, and then I would put 7th century there.
It's your list.
No, it's our list. It's our list. Don't do that. Where do you think this? You think that the century that we've hit that has stuff actually happening is down here or something?
No, I think it's between the interesting and it's second. Right there. That's where I think it is.
You can't see my face right now, but I'm making a face. All right.
8th century is way cooler than 7th century BCE.
You know what, Rufy? I'm gonna give it to you.
To me.
I'm gonna give it to you because we got a cool century coming up. Okay.
All right. Let's do next.
So the next century we have is the 6th century. This is this century is marked by the dominance of the Neo-Babylonian Empire. Then its fall to Cyrus the Great, the Achaemenid Persian. It's funny because I know how to say that, but I just can't say it right now. Persian Empire. Yeah. We have Cyrus, Cambyses, and Darius the First build one of history's first true super empires. The traditional lifetime of Buddha and Moravina, founders of Buddhism and Jainism. I actually don't know what that is. Jainism? No idea. Lifetimes of Confucius and possible Laozi in China. Birth of key Eastern Laozhi, okay, in China. Birth of key Eastern philosophers, Jewish Babylonian exiles, and partial return under Persian rule, and the height of the Greek city-state development and early clashes with Persia.
Confucius say.
He does. He literally says in this century. So.
Yeah. So, and for me, it goes. For me, what is cool, of course. I would say when it comes to infrastructure and building wonders, there is the Ishtar Gate, which is an amazing structure in Babylon. Somebody Google it or put it in the video. It's up to you. It's very beautiful gate. It's as close as Nuremberg Gate, I would say, maybe even better, because I believe it actually had gold in it back in the day.
Big gate guy.
Big gate guy. And next I have Phoenicians, which developed the maritime navigation. So it helped the circumnavigations of Africa, which happened during this period by Pharaoh Necho II. And in Greece, we have Pythagoras, because they finally started doing mathematics, which is another cool thing.
And we love a hypotenuse.
We love hypotenuse and Pythagoras, yeah. Yeah, that's for me when it comes to technology and advance in structures.
And when I think of centuries coming up, because what's goaded to your centuries, and that's how I'm looking at this list. And I think this is the coolest century so far, in my opinion. I don't know what your opinion on that is, but I kind of feel like, to me, it's the coolest century that we've talked about so far, and I still don't even think it gets out of interesting.
I mean, for the impact of the century, it's pretty high. Not just because we have the first big-ass empire by Darius the First, but there is, of course, philosophy in Asia, Confucius. There is, again, Asian, one of the main Asian religions, Buddhism. And another thing is, we got more development in Greek cities and Persia. So I would say this was quite a golden age.
Yeah, I mean,
start of the golden age. So it's probably very cool.
Yeah, for me, I would say it's probably very cool. I think we have some really. I'm thinking when I think of goated centuries, it's so tough because I actually have some in mind. that are super goated, and I don't know what I can put in here. Oof, I'm just looking at what we have, and I feel like we might have to come back and rebalance later, but I'm okay to put it in very cool for now.
I'm cool with it now. Like, let's move to the next.
All right. So next we have the 5th century. So this is, to me, this is the cool stuff. Okay, we have the Greco-Persian Wars, we have the Golden Age of Athens, we have the Peloponnesian Wars, the Achaemenid Empire, the Chinese Spring and Autumn, the Warring States period, and then we also have the ongoing spread of systemization of Buddhism, Jainism, and early Confucius thought. So, well, you have yours. I'll let you jump into yours really quick before I give. Oh, this is a good one, Herodotus. That's good. Go ahead.
So, I'm thinking to myself right now, is it in this Greek-Persian war where the myth of Trojan horse or Trojan War happened?
No, that's in the Iliad.
Oh, that's in Iliad.
Yes, the Iliad I think was 8th century, if I recall.
Oh man, I'm way off.
Yeah, but the Iliad is writing about it's actually 8th century. The Iliad is writing about something that happened prior anyway. It wasn't even supposed to be contemporary stuff.
So I'm just.
This is your Sparta. This is your Sparta versus Persians. This is your 300.
Oh,
yeah,
it's even cooler.
Yeah.
So we have, of course, Athens, Peloponnesian War. Yeah, that's the one. Then Achaemenid Empire, Chinese Spring Autumn. And for me, it goes to Herodotus. He writes the histories, basically invents journalism or commenting on current events in the world. Then we have the Scythians and Persians who get into the war in the Euro-Asian frontier. And in the Mesoamerica, we have the Zapotecs, which again are building Monte Alban into the hilltop. So that happens from
I actually don't even know what that is, so I'll have to look into that. But
the Monte Alban?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
It's basically pre-Columbian archaeological stuff.
Okay.
It's do you know the build in structures in the hilltops?
Yeah.
It's like Aztecs.
Similar to like stuff. Machu Picchu, or?
Yeah, something similar. Basically, it was Zapotecs. It was their capital. So Zapotecs had a capital in Monte Alban.
So
I don't know how to read it. So,
well, also we jumped in on this is where we have Marathon, Thermopylae, Salamis, and Plateau. I think to me this is this might be goated. This might be borderline goated if it's not goated.
I think it's goated. Just for the Spartan, it's goated because we love our naked men.
Facts. Yeah, I would say that this is goated to me. I like both 300 movies. I don't know if you've seen both 300 movies, even though they're not historically accurate at all. But
oh yeah, I remember Xerxes on his war beast and monsters.
I'm pretty sure that's what he looked like. So
Oh yeah, 7 feet tall.
Right. I just think it's a really interesting period. I think that this is probably the real period that inspires most Greek media. Is this century? When you think of Persians too, granted the last century, prior to this one, you would also say the 6th century is one that you think of the Persians in, but this one as well. I would say goated.
Empire.
I would say goated. It's hard for me though to say goated when I don't know a lot about it. So part of me is like, if it's that goated, I feel like I would know more about it, but maybe that's just I don't know what to call it. But okay.
I mean, to this day, if you mention oh my god, please God help me. Thermopylae. If you mention I cannot say it. I just cannot say it.
Just say that one battle. The 300 battle.
The 300 battle or marathon. If you say marathon to anyone, they will know. So even to this day, people who watch media at some point, they know about this. So the impact it had on centuries is huge.
Yeah, I would say that too, especially because of how old it is. So, because obviously things that happened during World War II, you know about but it was also really recent in historical terms.
This one was way back.
Exactly.
And the legends are to this day. So.
All right. So next, we have another pretty cool century. It would be the 4th century. So this century is the rise of Macedon under Philip II and Alexander the Great, the conquests of Alexander. The Hellenistic period begins. Greek culture spreads widely, blending with local traditions. This is the Warring States period in China intensifies. Early formation of the Maurya Empire in India. Definitely said that wrong. And philosophy flourishing, Plato and Aristotle and their schools.
And then we have the Library of Alexandria.
Yeah.
Which is basically laid the foundations, which are in the late century, of course. But it happens here. So the Library of Alexandria is built, which is going to be burned later on. But
by the Albanians and the Turks.
Yeah.
Together.
God, I hate them. And then again, apart from all of this in Middle East and Greece area, we have the Celts migrating. So they are pushing into the Balkans and the early Anatolia. So they're gonna be the Gelatians, basically the ones which are behind the river, and they keep attacking and raiding Balkans. And in China, we have the Qin state, of course. So they have the first crossbows, which is a big advancement in military technology.
So what are your thoughts?
Of course, there's the one guy we all have to respect and remember, the GOAT, the Blondie, the man himself.
Yeah.
Alexander. I would say goated. Another goated.
We're running into... We can't run into this... we're going to have to make some concessions here.
I think this one is...
no, this one is good. Oh, I was going to say more. I think it's better.
Because of the GOAT? Because of the GOAT.
I think because of the GOAT. I think he makes it better than...
Yeah, he does make it better.
Yeah, Persian Wars and Peloponnese Wars are cool. But Alexander is like... I think he... This might be like such like a bold claim, but I feel like he really like shapes... Because, you know, obviously Rome has a real Greek influence. And I think it's because of him. And not only him, obviously Plato and Aristotle too with the rise of philosophy. I think they kind of shape that early Roman culture, which kind of... for the next 700 or 800 years coming up, well, even longer than that, obviously, if you want to...
Let's put it on top of goated, I would say, because we also have the efficient hoplites. If we go into the full military, there are the hoplites with the hoplite wall.
Mm-hmm.
So big thing.
Okay.
Next thing.
So next we have the 3rd dynasty, which we have the
century.
Oh, 3rd century. I'm sorry, I was already pre-reading. We actually have the 3rd century BC, where we have the Qin dynasty, or Qin dynasty, however you possibly say that, unifying China, builds the first sections of the Great Wall, standardizes script, currency, and measurements. Also, apparently, right after we have the collapse of the Qin dynasty. Very Chinese history. The most Chinese history. And then the rise of the Han dynasty, one of China's defining imperial eras. The Maurya Empire reaches its peak under Ashoka, spreading Buddhism across Asia. This is actually... I love this century specifically because the Punic Wars, Rome and Carthage.
Hannibal.
Yeah, this is the First and Second Punic Wars. And then we also have the Hellenistic kingdoms. Obviously, the Ptolemaic kingdom, Seleucid kingdom, and then Antigenes, I think is how you say that. Dominate the Eastern Mediterranean. I don't know if you know a lot about the Ptolemaic Empire. That's obviously...
I actually don't know much about these Hellenistic kingdoms. Because the thing is, after they got absolutely wrecked by, the Anatolian counterparts. And then there was a big stalemate afterwards because they could not invade because of the Greece being so hilly and hostile against, sieging forces. Mm-hmm. So it was back and forward, but
so these
Anatolia completely locked itself away. Like after the wars and the fall of Alexander, and his empire falling apart, not much more happened between those two.
I got to push back on you here because this is the Hellenistic kingdoms are those of the are those of Alexander's generals. So like the Ptolemaic kingdom is Ptolemy and later on, Cleopatra is a Ptolemaic descendant. So
I'm not saying that there are not still cool things happening there, but it's less than what it was before. Like this is the fall off. You know what I mean? It's no longer the Golden Age. Like here is where the Greek started falling off, and the history more started moving towards Italy. And of course,
yeah, I would agree. I would say, yeah, I think the Ptolemaic Empire or kingdom specifically is
the end of the Greek Golden Age, I would say.
Yeah, I think the Ptolemies are relevant enough historically. I think the Seleucids definitely only exist for like a century, and then the Antigonid dynasty. I really don't know anything about it, but for me, I do think that these Hellenistic kingdoms, at least the Ptolemaic, actually do carry some historical relevance going forward.
But compared to previous age, ask anybody about these Hellenistic kingdoms. No one will fucking know anything.
Oh, for sure.
Ask them about Alexander the Great, the goat, the man. Everyone will tell you. And people will even try to claim him, aka Macedonians. Oh, never mind. For me, I actually made some notes as well. So we have Archimedes. He invents the screw pump and becomes history's most excellent mathematician. Then we have, again, some more languages in Greece, but who cares at this point? And then we have the Chinese imperial roads, which is quite funny, because when you think about the Qin dynasty, which created all these great things, and they basically brought power and prosperity to almost every single place. But because of how brutal they were when they were doing it, everything just fell apart. And then we have the Han Dynasty.
Yeah.
So it's quite sad, but in Asia, quite a lot of things happened in terms of progress and political place. But it was on such a large scale that the things which could matter just fell through the cracks. And I would say it's quite a shame, because us as Europeans, we do know these things happen, but we generalize them. So just for this reason, and also we talked about the Punic Wars, of course, the end of Punic Wars, Hannibal, which is probably the coolest part about this whole thing.
Definitely, I think it definitely is. I'm a huge Punic Wars.
Yeah, Hannibal and Archimedes. Because at this point, as I said previously, I don't give a flying F about Greece. Like, Greece is dead to me. But Rome kicked in, and Carthage, of course, Hannibal coming in. So I would say this is very cool, but it's a little bit less cool. Because, again, we think about the previous centuries, right? Big advances in technology, all of this happened. And here, it's like things fall apart, and some people use the opportunity to just attack their neighbors, which is Hannibal, of course. And
yeah, well, for me though, I would say that this century is actually what allows Rome to become Rome.
Because of Hannibal
is winning the Punic Wars. Yeah.
Yeah, he basically pissed off everybody else, so they unify. I would say very cool, but
this list is going to be so top heavy.
I think we're gonna move down soon. Don't you think?
I'm thinking that. Well, I don't know if there's much worse than the 10th century.
So you want to move them down? You keep just
yes. I have to do that. I think it's. I'm sorry. I would say it's like this, and then
keep that one there. I would say
this one. Yeah. Let's go. And then put this one in interesting.
Yeah, this one in interesting. Go to coded and move this one there. Yep.
Hey.
Now you happy?
Yeah, I feel like this is a way better list now. I've all my stress is out of my body now.
Let's move on.
Very good. Okay, so the 2nd century BC is the Roman Republic, expands massively, dominance in the Mediterranean, deconstruction of Carthage and Corinth. Han China consolidates and expands, the beginnings of the Silk Road networks. The Seleucid Empire declines, the rise of Parthia in Iran, the internal strains in Rome, social tensions and Gracchi reforms, and major Indian politics, the post-Mauryan fragmentation, and Greco-Bactrian Indo-Greek states. Couldn't tell you one of them, unfortunately, for the our Indian fans here.
Apart from that, for my notes, of course, there's the Pax Romana, in full swing. If Rome starts to begin to feel like Rome, because the way people think about Italy and the Roman Empire, this is the century where things start to kick in overdrive because of our boy Hannibal, who basically pissed off everyone in the peninsula, so they unified. And then we have there's just stuff happening in China again, and the Silk Trade. The Silk Trade starts kicking in.
Yeah, that's
in
right. Yeah,
Mediterranean.
consolidates and expands beginnings of the Silk Road network. So,
Yep,
now for
yep.
me, I think this is.
I would say it's very cool.
Well, okay, I was going to say I think it's right because to me, there's nothing. To me, there isn't a lot carrying this century. There's a lot of fun stuff, like little stuff, but
Okay.
I think my positive thing about the 3rd century is that at least we do have the Punic Wars that make things really cool. The Hellenistic kingdoms are pretty cool. Here we have the Silk Road. I think the Silk Road is cool, and then the idea of the Roman Republic.
Yeah, so
But I don't even think it. But it's
interesting.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. I would probably say
Yeah.
it's like right here, Loki.
Yeah, that's fine with me. Let's
Okay.
move on.
Right, next we have the 1st century BC. We have Crisis in the Roman Republic, Marius Sulla, Civil Wars, Caesar, Pompey. Next we have Julius Caesar's conquests, notably Gaul and assassination, 44 BC. Rise of Augustus and transition into the Roman Empire. Cleopatra VII, Mark Antony, Actium. I'm pretty sure it's a battle in Egypt, 31 BC. Azord into Rome. It is a battle in Egypt for sure, actually. Late Hellenistic world gradually folded into the Roman imperial structure.
Absorbed, more like.
There you go.
So, then I just made some small notes for Cleopatra, because she, apart from having, big jugs and sleeping with Caesar, she also had the first, I would say, propaganda. She manufactured massive political campaigns, and she became a symbol of sovereignty under the Roman influence and rule, even though they were fully occupied, sort of say, and they had to pay tributes to Caesar. They still remained autonomous, because she sort of propagated herself as the savior and the main person who keeps, let's say, the Romans at bay. So that's the first thing which came up, I say. And nextly, I have the Japanese metallurgy and rice agriculture. So in Japan, things start to boom, of course. So they start working with metals, and they develop their rice agriculture. So there is a huge population boom there. So that's pretty cool.
No, I actually think this one's pretty high.
Caesar.
Julius Caesar and his
Augustus.
assassination, plus the rise of Augustus. I think Augustus is probably. Most people would probably say that if he's not the best, I think he might be
No.
the best emperor in terms of.
No.
Who's the best emperor?
I would say,
You like Nero?
yeah, I like Nero quite a bit, but also it fell out of my name. The one with the cool helmet who killed shit ton of Celts and Gauls. What the hell's his name? Am I dumb? Wasn't
You're talking about the
Aurelian?
okay, Aurelian. Yeah, I would say.
Mark Aurelian. Aurelian.
Yeah, I would say for me, I think it's probably Augustus, and if it's not Augustus, it might be. I'm trying to think of the 5 good emperors. I'm pretty sure they're coming up. Actually, I think they're in the next century, so we're gonna go through them, or maybe they're in the century after. They're coming up here quick. It might be Trajan. One of these 5 good emperors is actually really good, just in terms of like a consolidation of Rome. But I would say this one's pretty high. Actually, I would say it's top of very cool, if not goated. Thoughts?
Yeah. It's alright. I would say. I would even lean to the goated part, because I feel like Alexander and Caesar are at like similar level.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Now it's just about the preference if you like Rome or Greek more.
No.
So if you like Romans more, you lean towards Caesar. If you lean towards Greek, you think about Alexander as the main idol.
I actually kind of would say first century is better because, granted, Alexander is so cool. He's really only impactful for, I don't even think 20 years. Whereas in the first century, we have all of Caesar and Pompey's deeds. And then after that, we also have the Mark Antony and Augustus period. So I'd actually say that the first century is probably better. First century BC, that is. Where do you lean? Which way do you lean?
I feel like Alexander was bigger. I think.
Okay, we can do Alexander.
Like in terms of scale, when you think about it, of course, Romans, big Mediterranean empire, and it lasted longer, of course. Even though the Roman Empire kept falling, kept unifying, it stayed along for a while. But in terms of like actual scale and reach and influence on other cultures, Alexander the Great and his rule. It was much higher impact, I would say.
Fair enough.
It laid foundation for the Romans, after all, because they got inspired by the Greeks.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You guys will have to let us know in the comments which one you think between the 4th and the 1st century BC. I think they're actually pretty close. So next
it's a preference.
Yep. Next we have the 1st century AD. This is the life and crucifixion. So depending on what you think.
Killed him, but we got his ass.
Yeah. Life and crucifixion of Jesus of Nazareth. The Roman Empire in its early imperial zenith under Augustus, Tiberius, Claudius, Nero, etc. Jewish Roman tensions culminating later in the Great Revolt, Han Dynasty, flourishing in China, population growth, bureaucracy and expansion, and development and spread of Mahayana Buddhism. What are you thinking here?
Another big player again, Augustus.
No, Augustus is the last century.
Oh yeah.
This is well, he probably lives into this century. I think Augustus ruled for a long time, to be fair.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But yeah, so then we also have Tiberius and Claudius, which I'm pretty sure are both serviceable emperors. I think Claudius is supposed to be a pretty good emperor, if I recall correctly.
Marcus Aurelius is in the next one, right?
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is. Okay, cool. I'll make a note here as well. I don't know what to tell, man. Some people who are very religious, they will be like, yeah, this is the coolest age ever because we had the Jesus Christ, this is the biggest thing ever happened. But as a strong atheist, I could not give a less of a fuck. He was probably a hobo. Anyhow, I can already hear the typing in the heart.
Actually, let me. No. So what I think is, I would say off impact, definitely Jesus is probably more impactful than. Well, he definitely is more impactful than these people. But in terms of personal interesting,
nothing happened big time. I mean, sorry, but
yeah, I don't think it's the most interesting, and I don't think that Granted, the crucifixion of Jesus is impactful.
It's the biggest thing ever, probably.
It is probably, very impactful, but
this 1 to 100?
The century, because he doesn't. I don't want to say he doesn't do anything. He the impactful thing is his death and crucifixion, and the people who follow him. So that's the actual impactful thing to me. So that's why I don't think it's actually that high. I think
it's about the heritage of the events.
I think purely off impact, it's at least interesting. I'd probably put it here at bottom of interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting, but apart
from unless Jesus is actually the Son of God, then it's probably goated. Throwing that one out there just in case. But
the big D in the sky.
Yeah,
your son comes around.
If you're watching,
they're so sorry.
Yeah, very sorry. If you're real, you're here. But
if you're watching,
yeah,
leave comments below.
Yeah, drop a comment. Yeah, drop a sub in a comment. I would say it's probably in bottom of interesting.
Yeah,
because to be fair, aside from Jesus, I can't think of anything else that happened during this, except for Nero. I guess Nero is kind of well known, but he's kind of just well known for being a degenerate. So, That's all I really have there. We'll move on to the 2nd century, which is Roman Empire at its height under the 5 good emperors, Trajan, Hadrian, Marcus Aurelius, and
My boy.
there's 2 other. Is it Vespasian? And I can't remember the other one.
To be fair,
I don't have it here in my
much
notes.
So much thing happens with Roman Empire 2nd century that Marcus Aurelius especially, he overshadows most of the other emperors, to be fair.
Oh, I think you're off. I think Trajan.
I mean, no. I'm saying that they are great. I'm not saying that they are bad, but the thing is that they all follow up after each other, and people just think of like Marcus Aurelius. He kind of overshadows them, but things still happened. That's what I mean.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about actual impact. I think Marcus Aurelius is generally well known, and this is obviously going to be like
because of his teachings, of course, and
lifestyle
and so on.
Exactly. So, obviously, Hadrian's known for Hadrian. Well, maybe not known for, but you know of Hadrian's Wall in the UK.
Yeah.
But
of course, we also have some notes for China. But apart from that, another big thing which happens in China, if it's not falling apart, paper.
Oh yeah,
Invention of paper. So that's another thing which happened, and of course the Hadrian Wall, as you mentioned.
So it was. By the way, it wasn't Vespasian. It was Nerva and Antinius Pius. So those were the ones that I was missing. Not.
Yeah. The builders.
Yeah. I would say this is actually a pretty cool century. I think the 5 good emperors is a really. I think it's to me it's like the peak cool time in Rome, even though it might not be actually as interesting as the 1st century. I think it's like the peak Rome.
Very cool. Yeah. I think this is very sensible, and we said all we could say. We could go over the details of like the full Pax Romana ideas and expansion of the northern limit and so on. But people can Google it up if you want to know all the details.
Yeah. All right. So next we have the 3rd century. We're getting into we're getting into some cool stuff. So we have the crisis of the 3rd century in Rome, which is the rapid emperor turnover, civil wars, invasions, economic collapse, temporary stabilization under Aurelian and Diocletian, increasing the Germanic and Persian pressure on the Roman frontiers, and very cool. And this is to me one of the few cool times in Chinese history. I hate to say it, but the 3 Kingdoms era of Chinese history, which I think is actually, to me, what boosts this one up, which I think is the first time that we've talked about something happening in China and it actually boosts up the how cool the century is. But I think it's fairly high.
You know what's fucked up about the century? We think about it that it's so cool because the things were so destabilized in the main empires that everything was on fire, and the people who raised to power and fought each other were actually excellent politicians, generals, administrators, and they just tried to put it all together. So previously, the end of the 2nd century, we had some bad things happen, of course, and in the 3rd century we had so many great generals rise up to take the reins again and make things whole. So it was the first true inflation in Rome, and everything fall apart, and people just started killing each other. But then we had people rise up, and I beg you, on my knees, edit Aurelian Helmet into this, because he was one of the possibly greatest generals who slammed. His campaigns are even on YouTube. If you look up Aurelian campaigns on YouTube, you will see some amazing military feats. Him crashing civil wars, invasions, hopping from one legion to the other, and then of course stabilizing Rome itself as well. So he was a huge player. And then you have your own another guy, Diocletian. So I think you could talk about him a little bit more than me, because
Diocletian?
Diocletian, yeah. I mostly go for Aurelian, because Aurelian is one of my favorite sort of emperors, generals, military tacticians, and even administrators. He was just, in my eyes, he was brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, to me, what I think is the cool. It's funny that that's what you think is the coolest. I think the coolest thing of the century is the 3 Kingdoms period, and then also, not to jump into your notes here, but the Mayan cities begin their classic era rise. I think that's also kind of a cool thing. Is the Maya start in the Americas? So,
I love the human sacrifices.
That's the Aztecs. I'm not sure that the Maya did human sacrifices. I could be wrong, but I think that was only the Aztecs.
One or the other, man. No, I'm joking.
I watched a whole documentary on, not even a documentary actually. There's a really good Lex Friedman episode where he has on a historian who's like an expert in like Mesoamerican civilizations, and he talks all about them. It's a good episode, but I would say that this one is probably right behind the 2nd century.
Yeah, I would say as well.
Okay, good.
Because the end of 2nd century, or getting into the 3rd century, was absolute chaos. Like, it's the funniest thing about 2nd century. The 2nd century was beautiful, but at the end, it just completely fucking fell apart.
Yeah.
Like, once the good emperors died, I think people got so rich and so well off that they were just not ready for the aftermath of bad administration.
Yeah, when I think the empire got too big as well, then that's kind of just what causes the collapses. Because Rome's Golden Age is fueled off expansion. So once they stop expanding, and worse than that, they start losing territory. Obviously, you see the sharp decline. So
the Germanic tribes, the Celts, the Anglo-Saxons as well.
The Goths,
The Goths, Goths, yeah.
Yeah, Visigoths and
then,
Ostrogoths.
Yeah, and then you have Aurelian coming in and smashing them all.
Yeah. So next we have the 4th century, which is Constantine the Great, the Edict of Milan in 1313, toleration of Christianity, and foundation of Constantinople. Christianity moves from persecuted sect to an imperial religion. The Council of Nicaea defines core Christian orthodoxy. Permanent division trends between Western and Eastern Roman Empire, and major barbarian migration pressures on the Roman frontier. I'm thinking of... Is this Attila the Hun, or is he the next century?
He's in the next, no? Because of the fall.
Yes, but I think he died before... Well, I think the Attila the Hun, and then the Dacians. I think it's the Dacians or Dacians. I don't know how you say it. I think they're maybe in the century.
He's in the next.
He is in the next. Okay, I got you. Okay, so that's coming up.
Yeah, because the fall of the Western Roman Empire.
I know people like Constantine, and I know people like Constantinople, obviously. And then
Istanbul.
Even the Council of Nicaea is a pretty big historical thing. I'm just not a huge... I think for me, Rome has lost its luster at this point. This is kind of what you were talking about, the aftermath. Yeah, of when you were talking about the aftermath of Alexander. To me, this is even though it's not over yet, this is the decline, and I don't actually find these things to be all that interesting. I think when I think of especially like when Christianity becomes more exciting, it's not in this century.
I mean, we have the split up, of course, of the East and the West, and the Orthodox, which is probably the coolest part of this, to me at least. So, yeah.
I would say it's my thought is that it's 3rd century's. Oh, it's probably I would kind of agree. Yeah, we'll put it top of
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay. Next we have the 5th century, which is the fall of the Western Roman Empire. The deposition of Romulus Augustulus. The Huns, good old Attila, does his thing. A continuation and consolidation of Eastern Rome Byzantine Empire. Early development of barbarian successor kingdoms. This is the Visigoths, the Ostrogoths, the Franks, and the Vandals. And then in India, the Gupta Empire has its peak and gradual decline.
And for me, we have Polynesia navigation, which basically reaches the peak. So there are more settlements in Pacific Islands. We have our boys going from Denmark and Germany, today's Germany, towards the modern UK. So we have the Anglo-Saxons, of course. This is where the Celts get pushed out and the Anglo-Saxons start replacing them. By the way, also very cool when it comes to both military expansion and technology, because they had one of the first proto-armors, and we are also moving towards the heavy cavalries. So this is a very cool area for that kind of thing. And there's minting in Aksum. So first gold coins, or first huge amount of gold coins being minted in like actual mint facilities or manufactories, whatever you want to call them. But the main thing here, as you said previously, is the Huns, of course.
Yeah, well, the Huns and the fall of Rome and the sacking of Rome by the Vandals.
Who was that, I wonder?
What do you mean? Oh, probably they were probably Turkish and Albanian, if I had to guess. Just from what I know, I would actually lean towards this one is interesting, but it's right behind. I think it's behind the 3rd century, which is our Hannibal century, but it's in front of our 2nd century BC, which is our kind of Roman Republic era. Unless you think it's behind the Roman Republic era, but
yeah, I will actually surprise you here. I think it's end of very cool, and I will explain why. Apart from Huns and the rise of the nomadic tribes and the cavalry and so on, the one thing which I just find extremely cool is the early migration of the Germans and Danes to Anglo-Saxons, or Saxons to Anglo-Saxons. So basically, if that wouldn't happen, we would not have United Kingdom, or the modern day in Britain.
damn. Well, I don't know. I think the Punic Wars are just way cooler. But I guess to your credit here is that it's really, to me, the 3rd century is cool in the Punic Wars, whereas the 5th century has way more. Well, I just think there's way more things that happen in the 5th century. I would put it at interesting, though. I wouldn't put it very cool. I'd put it at interesting.
Okay. I got far enough with this, so
we'll take it.
Let's move to the next.
So next we have the 6th century. Here, well, I'm gonna, hey, we'll see how this goes. But we have Justinian I in Byzantium, the Reconquest campaigns in Italy and North Africa, the Hagia Sophia, codification of Roman law. We have the Plague of Justinian, a major demographic and economic hit. We have the fall of the Ostrogoth kingdom, instability in Italy. The Ostrogoths were they basically took over Italy after Rome collapsed. Yep. A spread of Buddhism into East and Southeast Asia continues, and the post-Gupta fragmentation in India.
And for my notes, of course, because we had paper now coming in Europe from Asia, we have Diamond Sutra, which is basically the earliest dated printed book with actual writing and so on. So now we have the first proto printing, which is basically from wooden blocks, and it's starting to kick in, so people are trying to copy it. Then we have the Kortruk Kanet, which basically emerges, which is a predecessor to somebody who's coming up, of course. So we have the first Kanet in major steppe forces, or steppe, how do you say it again?
Steppe. Oh, it's how I say it, is steppe. But...
yeah, steppe forces, basically. So another nomadic force, but kicking in. And in Ethiopia, Aksum engages in major Arabian Peninsula campaigns. Yeah. So we have a little bit more fighting there as well. I would say pretty cool, but apart from campaigns, people killing each other, a little bit of technology progress, and in terms of like buildings, there is Hagia Sophia, of course, the main thing in Constantinople. I would say cool, but not very cool.
Okay, my thought is that it's an interesting too. I would say it's probably above the 1st century, but I don't think it's better than Roman Republic. I don't think that it's better than... To me, Justinian or Hannibal, who's cooler? It's not even a question. And then
second end.
Yeah, I would say it's right here. All right, next century, we have the 7th century. Whew, jeez. Wallahi. We have the rise of Islam. Alhamdulillah. Inshallah, my brother. We have Arab-Muslim conquest, sweep across Arabia, the Levant, Egypt, North Africa, and Persia. Significant territorial losses for Byzantine Empire and the Sasanian Persians. The Tang Dynasty in Japan and China, a major cultural and economic power, made the foundation again of Islamic civilization, law, theology, and Arabic as a unifying language. Hey.
And for me, we have more things happening in Japan. At this point, it's the Asuka period, and they basically reform and create early centralization of the state. So finally, all of the conflict will be not in vain. So they will start unifying under actual emperor. In Korea, we have the kingdoms, the 3 kingdoms, the Silla, Goryeo, or Baekje, which have constant wars and diplomacy, but they are more unified than before. And in Maya civilization, we have the classics. cities like Tikala and Kalakmul. So that's another cool thing happening in America. But the thing about America, it's just, completely isolated. So like the civilization which keep revolting just change slightly. They only build some wonders and then they just, move to the next, which is quite unfortunate. Because they don't have as much influence from other civilizations and cultures. I would say personally.
No, I would agree. I think that they're.
It still needs to be won.
They're all pretty unique when you look at like the different ages between the Olmecs, the Maya, the Aztecs, and the Inca. They're all geographically actually separated more than people would think. But I don't think that we're not at the interesting part of the Mesoamericans yet. I wouldn't say so. I do think the Maya are interesting, but not as interesting. They're actually like it's almost like a real trader republic kind of style culture. The Maya are, but for me, I mean, that's big Muslim. 7th century Muslims were doing their thing. We'll give them that. But is it interesting to me? Not really, unless unless Allah is the prophet as he is, then it's actually goated. But because I don't think he is.
I think. But the question is where in
Yeah, I would probably agree. I think it's behind the 4th century, but it's probably right there. I think it is cool, and it is super impactful. Obviously, Islam has had a huge impact on to this day, on world culture. But when I think of Islam and its impact, I don't think of this period as being the interesting period as far as I'm concerned. I think more of the different caliphates with the Crusades and the Ottomans being the cooler parts of Islamic history, not necessarily.
Yeah, that shaped the modern Islam. This was the early teachings, basically.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're good with it there?
I'm fine with it, man.
All right, we're getting more to it. We have the 8th century, where we have the Umayyad, later the Abbasid caliphates. Baghdad becomes an intellectual center. We have the Battle of Tours and Poitiers in Frankish Europe. The Carolingian rise under Charles the Hammer Martel and Pepin. Late century sees Charlemagne's consolidation. In Asia, we have Tang China flourishes and then faces rebellion. Anne Lushan, I do know a lot about Anne Lushan. And then expansion of Viking activity. I guess it does happen at the very end of the century, because 701 to 800 is the 8th century. So I think it happens at the very end. I think literally 799 or something like that. It's like the first Viking raid.
Yeah. Ragnar Lodbrok.
Well, the
Legends.
Yeah, well, it's 899. 799 is
Is it the legend in 799?
No, it's that.
It's the bat.
It's that place in Lindisfarne. I think it's Lindisfarne is 799.
You actually mean the first raid on
Yes,
Lindisfarne.
I think it's literally all the way at the end. Let me see, because I might be wrong. Lindisfarne. Let me see.
When you're searching for it, I will just mention my thing. So, of course, from my end, there is another thing happening in Japan. So we have the Heian period, which is basically the modern perception of the Japanese culture. This is the date where it happens. So we have the classic Japanese culture. And we also have Vikings, apart from going to British Isles. They also go where?
To Russia. Novgorod.
They go to Russia. So they are the expansionists towards Russia, and we get our Russian Vikings.
We do.
Also known in Byzantium as...
Oh man, what do they call them? Varangian? Something like that?
Varangian Guard. So this is the date where they started expanding towards Russian rivers, and later on in the next centuries, they go down to Byzantine Empire.
Yeah.
And they will be established as the main mercenaries for the protection of the emperor. So not really here. It doesn't really happen here, but it's like the leading up the first events. And lastly, we have Tibet and China beefing big time. So that's another rivalry which happens, because Tibet is quite strong at this point, and they have quite a lot of land actually. So the modern Tibet is very small, but back in the 8th century, Tibet was actually quite large, so most of the desert area was actually under the Tibet's control or their influence. So they were rivaling China.
Yeah. So my thought here is so also fact check that Lindisfarne was 793, so almost at the very end of the century. I mean that's the first.
It was right with the Russians going to Russia.
Yeah. So
Russians, Vikings.
yeah. So right at the end of the century. I actually think this one's pretty cool. Actually, I think the Umayyad and then later the Abbasid Caliphate is pretty cool. I think the Battle of Tours. I'm pretty sure that's the one where they painted the crosses on the shields, if I'm not mistaken. Is the Battle of Tours. Charles the Hammer Martel's cool, and obviously Charlemagne at the end. I think he's all the way at the end.
Yeah, but it's still like I would say this is leading up to another goat. This one is not the goat, but so much shit happens.
Yeah,
in Middle East.
Well, and Lushan and his rebellion are pretty cool as well. If you've ever read about it,
and we have our first Scandinavians making place. So I think this one is very cool. But I would put it at the end, I think. Very cool end.
What is 6th century BC again? Let's see. So I'm going to have to go over...
Confucius
say in 6th century...
Buddhism. So...
Cyrus the Great. Okay, fair enough. No, I agree, actually.
So I would put it here because it's the main thing, which is already cool. Exploration.
Actually, I think it can even go a little bit lower. I'm not going to lie. I think...
like top of interesting, you think?
Yeah, I almost maybe think the fall of Rome might be more. When was Charlemagne crowned the Holy Roman Emperor?
It was in 8.
Okay, never mind that. Never mind that. It's
next. It's the next.
Okay, I would say I would put it behind the fall of Rome then.
Yeah, because we have goat coming up. Like that's not even discussed. Next is goat.
Okay, so next. Oh, okay, shit. I could have just read one sentence ahead. So in the ninth century, we have. Charlemagne crowned emperor in 800. So literally at the very start.
Yeah. And we also have the big boys from Scandinavia going everywhere.
We do the big Viking raids across Britain, Ireland, Francia, and beyond. We have the Abbasid Caliphate. This is maybe the peak of the Abbasid Caliphate.
And the thing is about Caliphate, they have the coolest. I will stress you a lot in editing, but if people want to Google it, if you wish to put it in yourself, the Caliphate cavalry is the coolest fucking cavalry ever happened, next to, I think, Polish Hussars. So, yeah, that's what I would like to mention, the Abbasid cavalry, which had very cool armors.
And then we have the Tang Dynasty collapses, and then the Kievan Rus forms in Eastern Europe.
Yep, the Kievan Rus coming up to full swing before they get hammered by the Golden Horde, but not the Golden Horde, the Horde. So for me, it's also about a little bit more of Islam. They have their own algebra formalized, so the Al-Khwarizmi, I can't say it. They have their algebra because apart from Viking raids, France, Tang Dynasty, Rus, there is also the Golden Age in Islam. So they have their medicine, technologies, agriculture, and also written words. They have everything formalized and it's on full-blown swing. And they are quite tame, actually, I would say. There are still some fights happening, but they are not as expansionist as they were previously. They are more looking towards centralization. And we have also the Great Mosque of Samarra being built, which is an extremely huge architectural flex, I would say, for Islam. And also, when we talked about the Viking raids, this is another legend where Rollo, the brother of Ragnar Lodbrok, went to Francia and settled in Normandy, where we got our proto-Normandy, basically. So they were the original Vikings, the French Vikings. Cool. Extremely cool century, Aaron. I would say it's goated.
No, I wouldn't say it's goated.
Strong goat.
I wouldn't say it's goated. I'm just looking at... I'm thinking, what do we have coming up? This isn't even the... This is Charlemagne is cool. The Caliphate kind of starts. This is kind of like the Caliphate is beefed up as well. But the Viking raids don't necessarily intensify for Is this the peak century for Viking raids, 8 to 900? I believe it might be,
I
actually.
think it is. I think it is. This is where the.
It is. You're right. It is. I don't think it's goated. I don't think it's goated. I think I would put it here.
You are crazy.
I don't think it's goated. I think there's some other. How many goateds can we have? Because we both know there's a couple more centuries that are goated. Because we actually, he's not the real goat. Charlemagne's not the real goat. I'm gonna say it. There's a French. I think there's a French goat coming up.
A small one.
Yeah, I think there's a small French goat, and I think he's.
Yeah. Okay, if we're gonna put this in very cool and not. By the way, I would put it in goated. My hands are tied, everybody. This is Mr. Aaron's decision. Very cool, and never ever we will move it from very cool top.
No, I don't think. From what's because I have 3 centuries coming up that I'm gonna have trouble not putting in goated, and I think that just based off that, because I don't think we can have 5 goats, so I'm already gonna have to. Well, we could, but I guess we could technically. Yeah, to be fair, I think.
Yeah, there's so much information happening.
No, you're right. I think there's a century coming up that you might not even. Because when I say 3 goated centuries, I think you would know 2 of them. I think you're missing one that I would say is goated that you might not know that I'm going to say is goated. Even 2, actually, for me, my favorite parts of history really are, actually from the 11th century to the 20th century. So yeah, so.
Very cool. Leave it there. I'm kind of not sure. Let's go on.
All right, 10th century. We have the Ottoman Holy Roman Empire consolidate Central Europe, the Christianization of Eastern Europe, Poland, Hungary, and some Scandinavian conversions. We have the Fatimid Caliphate rising in North Africa, the early Song dynasty, and the ongoing Viking Age.
Apart from the another caliphate. Who gives a fuck?
I was going to say that it's air. It's air for sure. This is probably the weakest. This is the weakest send off into like the peak ages. I think. I would say it's probably behind. I would say it's right behind the. Where do you think? I think it's behind these. Behind the 7th century.
Apart from the consolidation of the Holy Roman Empire and Caliphate going in, campaigns, it's also fucking like, apart from what happened to this moment, this is just like everything gets, set in place. It's peaceful, sort of. People are getting converted to Christianity one way or another. It's just set up for something which comes up in the next, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. I would put it right here. You agree?
Yep.
All right. Now, this is the one that I think I'm going to concede on. But the 11th century, to me, is almost goated.
Because of High Middle Ages.
We have the High Middle Ages, the Norman conquest of England, 1066 Battle of Hastings, and Battle of Stamford Bridge.
Very well.
We have the Great Schism, which might, to me, be, aside from Jesus, might be the most impactful thing in Christian religion, is the Great Schism. And then we have the Seljuk Turks, and then the First Crusade. I mean, to me, this is like to me, it's goated. You think it's goated?
Yeah, it is.
All right, good. Okay.
Apart from this, we also have the Doomsday Book written in England, which is.
I'm gonna say I think it's top of goated.
Yeah, and also apart from the Seljuk Turks rising in the Islamic war and unifying everyone against Byzantium, because they hate them. They are different. They are not us, so we hate them. They also have another scientific breakthroughs in optics, medicine, astronomy. So before it in the what did I say? Did I say 9th century, which was basically writing. This is the golden age for Islam, where they just went to the new heights with medicine and so on, astronomy. Before it was just set up.
Mm-hmm.
This is the height when they This is where they threaten Europe so much that all of the people who hate each other in Europe decide that they are not the greatest threat to each other, but the Islam is the greatest threat.
To me,
even imagine how much it takes, like politically, how much it takes, or like how big of a threat you need to be for everyone to unite and actually launch a crusade against you.
Well,
It's absolutely bonkers.
part of what I think too is I think that this is the first century where Europe has recovered from the Roman Empire collapsing and actually is in a position to do something about it. I think that this is because all of these different, because we have Charlemagne 2 centuries earlier, and then after his death, there's the fragmentation of his kingdom, followed by all of the Viking raids, which destabilize a large part of Europe. Now, finally, we've got to the end of the Viking raids.
And we have the schism.
Right, and then we have the schism as well. So, but I think that this is kind of the time where Europe starts to become Europe as we know it. So that's why I think it's so high. I think 11th century is like, it's pretty goated century. It might be one of my favorite. It's definitely probably my top 3.
And also because of this century, I feel like to this day, we Catholics do see each other as like different in cultures and so on. But when we look into Islam, we see them even now like in weird light, you know?
Yeah.
It's because of this century.
Yeah. Okay, well, cool. Well, next we'll jump to the 12th century, which is the continuation of the Crusades. The feudal monarchy strengthened across Europe. Capet in France, England and HRE struggles. Universities emerging. Bologna and Paris. Song China highly advances economically. Get that out of here. We don't care. Islamic philosophy and science and literature boom.
Yep. And for my notes, we of course have the
Ooh.
Gothic architecture.
Yeah.
So everybody loves the Gothic architecture, which is extremely cool. Then we have the.
Go ahead.
In China, we have.
You didn't say it right. You didn't say it right.
What do you mean?
Song Dynasty experiments with early.
Dynasty. So we have the first guns, which is gonna be a small note. It's gonna be a big thing in the future.
Yeah.
Not in China.
Might
but in
take
Europe.
off. It might take off. We'll see.
It might take off. It might not. We will see. And the troubadours.
Yeah, that
are
was
in
good.
Europe.
I missed that. That
We
was
have,
good too.
We have the first bards coming in Europe, or the first songwriters and singers and what do you call them? Yeah, thinking about a specific word, but we've been talking for so long that it's just going past me, man. Right now,
Yeah, what's funny though, because I almost think that this is one of the weaker. This one's kind of weak to me.
It is. But architecturally and culturally, it's pretty high. But in terms of political and like other events, it's not the biggest thing. But it's still quite interesting, I would say.
So in my head, I would put it right behind. This is this.
It's a very strong contender, isn't it? Like the Rome, bad times in Rome.
Well, no, this one is This
the
is
first Rome.
This is Roman Republic. This is that Pax Pax Romana, or not Pax Romana, but peak Roman Republic. Yeah, I would put it right behind then, because I think when this is kind of they're competing in the same way. I just think that the Roman Republic era is a little bit more interesting than this.
I would say so. I think it's cool because again, this is mostly like cultural, technical, and architecture. There are some, of course, fighting happening every fucking century, but it's not as a big impact as previous. We still have war crusades, but let's be honest. Actually, one more thing. Because after the first crusade, I'm not sure, so don't quote me on this. When did the Children Crusade happen?
That might have been during. That might be 12th century.
In this one,
it might be during.
For those who don't know, there was one unofficial crusade which happened, and it was launched by either Italian or German.
1212. So next century, at the very start of next century.
So I will still talk about it because it's fucking hilarious. Well, not really. So basically, up to 10,000 children from Germany, Italy, and so on marched through Hungary and the modern Balkans towards, the Seljuk Turks, for another crusade. So they want to basically bring back the Holy Lands, which we lost again. Upon their arrival to Turkish peninsula, they got arrested, sold to slavery, and absolutely demolished.
Is that? Oh yeah, that is this one, isn't it?
Yeah, it was quite fucked up, but it's a funny little event, I would say. A little bit goof, but 10,000 children enslaved. It's just it's crazy.
Pretty brutal way for the crusade to end, but that's a good way to start the 13th century because that happened during the 13th century. Next, though, we also have the Mongol Empire with Genghis Khan and his successors and fast. There you go. Yeah, devastating Mongol invasions throughout China, Middle East, and Eastern Europe. The late Crusades and lost most of the Crusader states. High medieval culture in Europe, Gothic cathedrals, scholasticism, chivalric literature, and then fragmentation of the Mongol Empire by the end of it in the Khanates in those centuries.
And apart from Mongols rising to power, which most people think they were just horrible people who conquered everyone and killed them, that's quite not true. They actually led to extremely wild cultural exchange. There were so many cultures in the Mongol Empire. So a lot of recipes, technology, maps. I would even say the proto maps or the proto how do you call it again? The science of drawing maps.
Calligraphy.
So basically, this is the age of calligraphy. I would say because past Mongol Empire, every single person in Europe started to know about Asia, Middle East, and we knew previously, of course. But this is the date where we actually got accurate maps from Asia to Europe. So all of the known world to this day, apart from, of course, the New World, US, Northern and Southern America, which we didn't know about, of course. All of this was documented. And, of course, a little bit of Africa. Not the South Africa, but most of the North. Actually, no, even the South Africa. So, entire Africa, Asia, and Europe in the 13th century was documented in calligraphy. Mm-hmm. And we also had in Italy some more breakthroughs. We had eyeglasses, and it was quite eventful actually.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I'm trying to think where I would put this. I think it's probably more impactful than the Fall of Rome, so I'd probably put it like right there, honestly, and maybe even above.
I would say very cool because of Mongols.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, we are all descendants after all. Or you want to tell me that you're not a descendant?
No, I think it's cool. I'm trying to think of where I would put it, though.
I would put it a little bit there. Yeah, front.
Okay, right here?
Yep, that sounds cool.
All right, and right before we get to 14th century, give me 1 second to pause.
Commercial break. Alright guys, welcome to the half of the video, or hopefully the end of it. Now it will be a great time to look at Winter Reach Emporium, a game which this channel is of course dedicated to and we are working on, and we would like you to wishlist it, look it up, and endorse it, give it a little bit of love, because after all, we still love history and other events which happened, but we also love gaming. So if you would like to see it, and city building and managing games are up to your alley, give it a look. Not a bad thing to see. And back to the video. God.
So next we have the 14th century. 14th century, we have the Black Death, the start of the 100 Years' War and the majority of the 100 Years' War.
The Dancing Plague.
The Dancing Plague. The crises of the Church of Authority. Yeah. This is the Avignon Papacy and the Western Schism, the decline and fragmentation of some of the Mongol Khanates, and social uprising and economic disruptions across Europe.
And you know what else we have?
What else do we have?
Come on. Bohemia. What happened in Bohemia?
Is this Jan Hus?
This is Jan Hus, baby.
Jan
the Inside Wars.
Jan Hus.
Going before the big actually no, that's in the next. My bad, I apologize. It's in the next. This is 14th century. I was thinking of 15 already. Anyhow, 14th century. So now we have the first guns, of course, coming to Europe.
Blammies.
Not just China. The Blammies, the single block rifles.
Yeah.
Or the, what do they call them? We call them like harmonica, or it's not a harmonica. How do you play the one which you play by blowing in it as
flute?
Well, and it has all flute. Yeah,
or
the
clarinet
shaped weapons. Yeah, clarinet shaped weapons. Then we also have clocks. Yeah, the invention of clocks to track time. So it's pretty cool as well. But the main thing here is, of course, 100 Years' War and the Black Death.
Yeah, and then this is I was going to say, actually, not even this century is the cool the coolest parts of the 100 Years' War to me. I think the cool thing of this century is the Black Death, and to me, aside from that, it's not that cool.
I mean, 100 Years' War is pretty metal, no?
It is, but to me, the coolest part is with Joan of Arc and Henry V, and that's not until that's not until the 15th century.
Yeah. So we would say this is another one where it's like a setup. I would say
Kind of, but the Black Plague, where does the Black Plague put it?
Ooh, I would
Plague
say
has to
end.
put it...
And I would say end.
Well, this 12th century was kind of weak. It has to be above the 12th century.
Then we can put it there.
I would put it here.
We just slowly putting stuff behind Pax Roma or Roman Empire.
Yeah. So next,
it's fine.
as said, we have the 15th century with the fall of Constantinople. We have the age of exploration begins at the end, obviously with Columbus.
Columbus, yeah.
With the late 100 Years' War, which is the Henry V portion, and the
Marriage.
and the oh, I just said her name. What the hell is her name? Joan of Arc. An eventual French consolidation. The printing press invented by Gutenberg. Ming China is at significant strength. And then the birth of the Renaissance. This is a pretty high tier.
And apart from this, there are some other events happening in the world, which is also Koreans. They invent the movable metal type printers. So apart from having the ones in Europe, which are basically the printing press, we have the actual sort of more modern metal type printers, which are in Korea. So fun enough, Gutenberg, good stuff, printing press, but Koreans, fight me on this, did it better. And then we have the Ethiopian Empire fights against the Adal Sultanate, so more fighting in Middle East. But the thing is about this century and the centuries after this, apart from the Ottomans, of course, nobody gives a fuck. I hate to say this, but apart from the Ottomans...
Oh, I couldn't disagree. Oh, in the Middle East. Oh, in the Middle East. Okay, I was going to say, I think this is...
Europe.
Yeah.
Everything comes to Europe, of course.
Yeah.
But like, so much shit happens in Europe from 15th century onwards. We do not give a fuck about outside world apart from New World, because New World is just fucking...
Very well said.
Killing Indians, bringing smallpox to Aztecs. We love all that, baby. We love all of that.
And you're gonna hate this. I actually think it's above Charlemagne.
Actually, I believe.
Okay, good.
Because the thing is, in this century, being a Bohemian myself, we have the end of 100 Years' War, and something funny will happen in the next century. But in this century, we had, as we said previously, Jan Hus being burned. And the greatest, possibly one of the greatest generals living in Bohemia, which is Žižka, who was formerly a bandit, but then he became a commander of Hussites, and they have not lost a single battle to the Crusaders. The only reason why they lost is because they turned on each other. The Hussite nobilities turned on the Hussite commoners, and that's why they, started losing battles, because they turned on each other. But every single outside force which came to Bohemia lost.
Yeah,
so that's
I mean,
a huge thing.
Also, when you think about the Renaissance, now some of the, like Michelangelo was generally I think he did most of his art in the 1500s in the 16th century, but Leonardo da Vinci was almost entirely in the 15th century. So
Florence,
and they were all born in this century, nonetheless. So I think also that part you just have to look at it.
Yeah,
I think this is just such an impactful century. So I like it at the top of very cool.
I know that you want to put it on very cool. Now it's kind of a question. Do I think this was cooler than Vikings? That's like my main beef.
Fall of Constantinople, discovery of the New World, the latter half of the 100 Years' War, the printing press, Ming China, and birth of the Renaissance. It has to be cooler.
I think it's cooler, but it's very close, because the events are quite similar if you think about it. Like, Anglo-Saxons and not Anglo-Saxon, Vikings going to Britain.
Yeah, but the Vikings are cool.
Yeah, I know. But yeah. I actually agree with you, especially because we bring smallpox to Aztecs. So,
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So next is the 16th century. So we have the very cool, the Protestant Reformation. We have the kind of expanding of the Spanish and Portuguese empires. The Ottomans become a huge power under Suleiman the Magnificent. The Mughal Empire is founded in India. The ongoing Renaissance and scientific revolution. This is Copernicus. Copernicus is Polish, I believe, right? Or Danish? Is he Danish or Polish? One of the two.
I have no idea.
And-
I will go with this.
I think he's
See this.
Copernicus is Polish or Danish. I'm almost positive. And then we also have the Columbian Exchange that reshapes the global economy.
It's Polish.
He is Polish. Okay. And then you have yours here, which are some good ones.
Yeah, the Japan consolidation. The shogun takes the reign, and all of the warlords basically start building castles, and the extravaganza around samurais is in this period in the 16th century. Then we have scientific illustrations. So we have the first botany and anatomy of both animals and men being detailed, because in this time the Protestants take over, of course. So they're apart from Christians who will never ever touch bodies, but Protestants, on the other hand, they prioritize science research, and they are not as tied to, of course, the Christian or the Roman Christian beliefs. So they go a little bit different way, and we start to learn more about our bodies as well.
Very nice.
And of course, the botany. Then we have another thing, which is the global trade network, the first global network between America, Europe, and Asia. So in this sanctuary, we also have, I would say, in 16th century, end of the 16th century, is the Holland, or not Holland, the Dutch becoming a unified trade network with the English, of course, and the Spanish and Portuguese. So there's two main players in the trade, which is Spain, Portugal, English, and the Dutch coming into the play, which will later on form something which we will talk about as well, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, and I would put this one in very cool. I think this is just another really cool century. You agree?
Yeah.
And I would lean towards, I think it's kind of cooler than Mongols to a degree, but I think it's around the Mongols would be my guess.
Ooh. I would say behind.
Okay, right behind the Mongols, that's fair.
I think I'm right behind the Mongols, yeah.
So then the 17th century, we have the 30 Years' War. We have the rise of absolutist states, so Louis XIV's France. We have the English Civil War and the Glorious Revolution. We have the growth of the Atlantic economy, sugar, slavery, and colonial rivalry, or the Triangle Trade, as it's
By
called.
the Dutch company? Which company is that?
Well, I don't think it's just them, but it's
mostly them.
Is
it? Yes.
And we have the
coffee, I would say like more on the like herbal spices and so on. Tea as well, probably.
well
but
tulips
coffee-
too. I think there's like the tulip boom
Yeah.
and collapse happened in this century. I'm not entirely sure that it happens in this century, but
So
next we also have
Go
the
on.
scientific revolution with Galileo, Descartes, and Newton. The Tokugawa Japan unifies an entire isolation, and continued consolidation of Mughal Safavid and Ottoman powers through cracks, though cracks do appear. This is probably like towards the end of like the Ottoman like super powerful age. I don't know a lot about the
Thank God.
Mughals or the Safavids, but right.
So that's more of like Africa, I would say, coming in to the play. Mogul and stuff of it.
Well, Mughals in India. I'm trying to think where
India,
Safavid is. Yeah.
Asia. Yeah, I'm thinking of something else. I apologize. So for me, it's, as I said, coffee, tea, and chocolate becoming like the big thing for fashionable feast and drinking in a global sphere. We also have the Dutch Golden Age. So art, science, trade, everything's become extremely good. Even the mapping of the trade routes. And in the Qing Dynasty, Qing Dynasty conquers Ming, and they will become ruling China. Like again, at this point, who can keep a track, bro?
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's very cool again.
Apart from the Atlantic Atlantic trade and Jews bringing slaves to US, I would say the 30 Years War and the Dutch being super fucking cool. And Japan, of course. So I would say very cool, past the Mongols, and maybe past... What is that?
Is
century?
3rd century, I believe that this is our 5 good emperors. Is that true?
Yeah, I think this is actually kind of cool.
Oh no, 3rd century is our Aurelian and Diocletian. There's definitely cooler than that. And 2nd century is our 5 good emperors, which I think it's probably cooler than that too.
Yeah, I would say here it is. What is in front of it?
In front of it is Charlemagne and the Vikings.
Oh yeah, I don't think it's cooler than that.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I think 17th century goes here. As I said, for the 30 Years War, Atlantic trade, Japan, and fall of Ottomans. Was the heavens. Big hater here. I cannot still forget that the burning, and Istanbul being named.
All right, next.
Yeah, the Dutch.
Next, we have the 18th century, which we have the Enlightenment Age. We also have the War of Spanish Succession, the 7 Years' War, the American Revolution, USA, French Revolution, and then the early Industrial Revolution, but we're not really into it, and then the growing challenge to old monarchies and colonial orders. Really doesn't have much to do. I guess there kind of is, more in France than anywhere else, but the big thing here, obviously, is American Revolution.
And apart from American Revolution, there is also Caribbean, which will become the explosive center.
Oh, this is also the Pirate Age too. The Pirate Age is here as well.
This is the age of scurvy.
Damn, pirates are pretty cool though. As I was going to put it high because of America, but pirates make it even cooler, right?
I would say close to Mongol.
I think it's above Mongol.
Ooh, that's just because you're American.
If I was, because I was American, it'd be up here.
Yeah. Oh my God, this guy.
I think it's because with Mongols, it's kind of, to me, just, I hate to say, it's really just the Mongols, but
yeah, it's just the Mongols. And in this era, we also have the
yeah, Spanish Succession, 7 Years of War, Enlightenment era, French and American Revolution, and pirates. I would even put it above here. I'd put it right behind five good emperors. I'd put it above Aurelian and Diocletian.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Next,
19th century.
we have the 19th century. So the 19th century, we have the Napoleonic Wars, the Congress of Vienna. We have industrialization, the abolition of slavery towards the end, obviously, a height of European imperialism and scramble for Africa, national unifications of Italy and Germany, and major advancements of science, medicine, and communication. We're also forgetting here is the oh no, here I have industrialization spreads, railways, factories. Okay, so industrialization really is, to me, a huge part of the century.
Yeah,
and then the Victorian era as a whole. I actually think this is one of the. I know you have some stuff here that you want to throw in here, but I think this is actually really cool.
Yeah. I only was about to talk more about the railroads because they are being built everywhere. I'm actually not sure, but this might be when the Russians built a railroad to Siberia.
I don't think that happened. I think that happened in the 1900s.
I think Siberian Railroad happened in... Let's see. It happened in the... It started here. Yep, it started here. End of 19th century. The Siberian Railroad was being constructed. So I think apart from industrialization, everything being connected, and the first age of people actually traveling around and doing cool shit, even though prior to this we had colonization, but this is the age where you could actually travel quite fast around. Because trains, first of all, of course, we had faster boats, we had more boats being built because of the industrialization, we had a better access to resources, if we were not killing each other, especially in, this little guy in France. I think this is extremely huge thing happening, and unification of Italy, Germany, everything being centralized, interconnected, science, medicine. I would put it in goat. End of goat.
I would put it above. I actually would put it above Alexander. Okay.
I don't think so.
I think above first century BC.
Yeah, I think here it's fine.
Okay, fair enough. Next we have.
Because I wanted this, spit in the face of God.
Right.
No.
Next we have the 20th century. We have World War One, the Russian
I feel like
Revolution.
Yeah.
World War II, the Cold War, decolonization, the rise of global institutions, and then the information age.
Then we have also the space race, the global population basically after the wars quadruples. It's the biggest it ever was, in the fastest ever it was. And we still feel the aftermaths to this day because it was also the baby boom, the boomers, of course. And I think because how well it was documented, hate to say it, but the next two ages I would put it in goated. Because it's just
shocking. You mean the next two is because I would put this top of goat. I think this is the coolest one.
Yeah, of course, like World War One, World War Two, the breakthroughs in technology. You think 21st century, as it was till this moment, I don't think we even need to document it because everybody who is gonna watch this video is probably being born in 21st century.
No, maybe.
It's not goated.
No, I wouldn't say it's. No, it's only a quarter. We're only a quarter way in. I mean.
First of all, we are only quarter way in, and I'm just thinking like. When I look back in the 19th century and the early 2000s to this moment, we made quite a lot of technical or scientific breakthroughs, and there's also a lot of things happening even right now. For example, I live in Denmark. We're gonna have soon molten salt reactors, so there's gonna be a huge spike in mobile energy production. In Switzerland, we have fusion reactors being tested for a longer period of time, so we are closer to fusion than ever before. Nuclear energy is being built, AI technology. It's like everything is in fucking overdrive. Even though we have late stage capitalism, people and humanitarian rights, everything is being, I would say, squished upon for the sake of profits. And it's a long topic. But to make it sure for 21st century, I would say it's goated.
I think it's just the sheer amount of history. When I think about the 21st century, I just think of like, sure, everything's documented, and that's probably what would lead me to think that. I'll say, hey, there hasn't been a good war in a long time. Hasn't been a good war in a long time.
What is that supposed to mean? How
hasn't
American
been a good,
are you?
Haven't had a good war in a while. You gotta
9/11.
Haven't had a good fight. Yeah, but then we just went over there.
Which was, by the way, inside job.
What a cope. But I think I actually think it's relatively low to me because it's only a quarter way in. There's technological accelerations, but there's not the same. Other than the internet, I think the internet really is like the big thing of the century. Aside from,
but internet wasn't the end, actually.
Of the 90s.
90s, yep.
Yeah, so really, if it's just like the advancement of communication, to me, that's really the huge leap. Because if you look at the leaps that are in the 20th century, so far in the 21st century, I don't think we've made the same leaps.
I think we're gonna make huge leaps now.
Oh yeah, I'm saying at the start of the 20th century, people were, borderline rubbing sticks together, and then by the end of it, there's, halfway through they're dropping nukes. Actually, I think you look at a plane schematic from 1900, and then and then we're on the moon 40 years, 50 years later, so 60 years later.
And now just imagine what we're gonna do in next 10, 20 years now.
Sure, but we haven't done it yet, so that's why I would say it's probably
we
like.
We already did. We brought AI to life, even though it has a lot of.
Yeah, AI's might. Yeah.
Yeah, there's gonna be, of course, a bubble, AI bubble. Yeah.
And AI still can't make a good thumbnail. Okay, I'll tell you that much. I keep having to make them myself.
I think we are in for, if things don't go sideways and we fucking kill each other, as Albert Einstein said. I don't know. I know we fought World War One, World War Two with guns and weapons and atomic weapons. But what was the quote again? With stock and stone, the World War Three. I don't know what World War Three is gonna be fought with. I know that.
No, I don't know. I don't know what World War Two is gonna be fought with, but I know World War Three will be fought with sticks and stones or something.
No, World War Three. One more. World War Three. I don't know what World War Three is gonna be fought with, but I know World War Four is gonna be fought with sticks and stones. So It kind of looms over our heads even now, especially with the internal struggles in a lot of countries. Like we have America, of course. We have Asia. We have a lot of revolutions happening right now, and people don't talk about them. A lot of instabilities in the world because capitalistic might is just crushing people's spirit. So we are slowly moving toward Warhammer 40k.
Can't wait. Can't wait to get put in the reactor.
Yeah, I cannot wait to be a servitor. So, just for those reasons, I would say, if we don't fucking kill each other, we have amazing and cool.
Sure,
things happen,
I
like
agree. I just don't think
people
we're far enough in it for it to be higher than top interesting.
So you think just because of the fact that we are not even halfway through, it's only interesting?
Oh yeah, I mean, next year we could just blow everybody off the face of the earth, and then it would probably
And, yeah,
be pretty
done.
boring.
Yeah,
it would be pretty
nothing matters.
boring after that. So
Yeah.
I'd put it top interesting. You agree?
For the sake of end, let's call it the most interesting. Yeah, because
All right.
it's happening right.
Well, guys, we have probably a couple hours here in the video, so we appreciate anybody who watches the whole thing. If you got to this point, you gotta subscribe if you watch 2 hours of us ramble about history.
Yeah, if you did watch the whole thing, go outside, man.
Yeah,
Touch some grass.
get some help for real, because what the hell was that? All right, well, like, comment, subscribe, and wishlist Winter Reach Emporium in the description. Thanks, everybody.
Bye bye.